Ready? All right, I guess we're starting, everybody.
Easy.
Good evening. It is Monday, October 4th, 2021. And I'm going to call the Prescott Planning Commission meeting to order. We'll take roll call. Steve Eggers.
Here.
Lothar Naraki.
Here.
Rob Doherty.
Here.
Josh Gergen.
Here.
I heard nothing from Connie. I can't remember if she said she's going to be here or not. Steve and Todd. So those are three that are not here. And we got Matt Wolf, City Administrator. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of August 2nd, 2021.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes August 6th.
No,
No?
look at the minutes themselves. It says August 2nd. That's all.
Okay, August 2nd.
Got a motion.
Second.
Motion made second to approve the minutes of August 2nd, 2021 Planning Commission. Any other discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is a proposal change to the Highway Commercial C2 zone. In your packet, I'll let Matt present, but he kind of gave us a little summary of what he wanted, a little report, and I'll let Matt give a quick overview for the audience, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. So right now, currently in our C2 zoning district, which is the commercial district that runs along Highway 10, 29, 35, we allow all the uses that are within our C1 district, and our C1 district is our downtown district by the riverfront. And additionally, our C2 zoning district allows for permitted uses of manufactured mobile homes, vehicle and equipment sales and service establishments, warehousing, wholesaling, and storage establishments. Typically, what I think a healthy commercial district you want to see reserved for places that are concerned with engagement of commerce on a daily activity, at least in terms of place of business, with the activity of buying and selling taking place regularly throughout that commercial development that then facilitates additional traffic and development for future growth. So what we're considering here, or what's being asked for you to consider tonight, is some changes to the C2. First, removing warehousing and wholesaling as permitted uses. Both warehousing and wholesaling are already permitted uses in our I1, I2, and I3 districts, and they are generally not on a large scale that does commerce that brings in traffic back and forth. And then additionally before you are some changes in terms of what is permitted and then what's a special use permit. Manufactured mobile home is already permitted in the mobile home use district within our zoning code. And again, those don't generally facilitate regular commerce of business within that use within. So looking for that to be moved to a special use permit. And then storage, vehicle, equipment sales, and service establishments. One of the things that generally occurs with those uses is some of them, at least, not all of them. Obviously, we have a very good use in terms of vehicle sales with certain house sales. I think everybody's very happy with the way it looks, but some of them can lead to degraded vehicles and other things. And what you're looking at for a special use permit is when you're looking at what is or isn't a special use permit, is three things. Does it tend to generate significant traffic volumes and or turning movements? Does it have additional operational characteristics that may have a detrimental impact on adjacent or nearby properties? And then other characteristics that may impact public health, safety, or welfare, but can be approved if it meets certain criteria. So those uses in terms of vehicle sales, vehicle equipment, repair, storage, and then those mobile home are all being requested to move to special use permits. And that will give us the ability, as you can see in the packet, then to control some of those other characteristics as they're listed out in terms of like landscaping type of construction, lighting, fencing. Some examples that I saw, for instance, limit sign if it's an exterior vehicle sales. You can limit signage in terms of where it's placed and how it's placed. Limit the maintenance, for instance, of vehicle work that can be done only inside and not outside the building. Limit the amount of vehicles that are either broken down or deteriorating, so they're only inside the building. Things of that nature. So with that's what's before you tonight in terms of a consideration, and then looking for your recommendation to bring to City Council for next Monday's public hearing.
All right. Any questions from the commission?
What's the driving force behind this at this time?
I don't know if there's a driving force other than I know I like Matt too. I think he brought this up. I probably had him dig it up we have, you know, where the, I'd say between Dollar General and Bean Sprouts, whatever that one place, you know, we have someone interested in putting storage there. Well, it'd be allowed in here, but like we did with Jimmy French. You know, he just wanted to put up a pole building. And luckily we made conditions on it, but this would say, it doesn't say you couldn't do that, but we don't want the city to be known as a city of all, a bunch of pole buildings up and down Highway 10 or
Right.
35. And if we do allow it, not that a pole building is bad, but that's spruce it up a little bit, brick front, landscape it a little bit more, we can at least control how the building looks. Because again, if you want to, you know, you don't want to drive business out, and yet if you're going to bring a business in, it's nice to build your tax base a little bit. So if you make them build a little bit nicer looking building, tax base goes up a little bit. Of course, the nicer a building looks, and you see this in other cities, I make my building look nice, next guy next door is going to say, boy, his looks a lot nicer, I'm going to fix mine up, or the next one comes down, and the image of the city looks a lot nicer, number one. And then, of course, tax base, number two. That's kind of, so I kind of push Matt to say, don't be afraid to look at the ordinance and throw some ideas out there. And this is what he's come up with.
So
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Commissioner.
then, you know, we got this map here of the city showing all the zones.
Yep. Not color.
But you can't really tell what it
Right, you
is with the
can't-
black and white deal. You got something colored we can look at? Okay. You know,
Yeah, do you want me to try to go get something
Yeah,
now?
I'm gonna grab
I
one.
apologize, I didn't realize it was.
and then
I
the
should try to
same,
get one in here, I suppose, someday.
same time, you know, you're talking about that work downtown.
Yep.
Kind of like to see a little bit of that on a drawing, not just what we read about in the paper. You know, it's exactly.
The downtown?
Yeah,
Yeah. Now, that's a different issue than what you're saying.
I know it's a different
The color stuff, yeah. And just so you know, it is on the city's website, and you can come here. But yeah, I know what you mean. For this commission, it'd be nice to have the little bit color drawings, a little more.
well, I think the people that might be watching on TV
Yep.
would sure like to know what
Yep.
these zones are a little more clear than what we're seeing here.
And maybe Matt, in the future, and I think what Steve's asking is in the future, you know, if you need to, you know, maybe have at least get on your computer a little PowerPoint, we can bring it up, because then I think on TV they can bring it up, just so people can, they can reference it more.
Well, it also wouldn't be that hard to send us the color copy.
No. So, where is it at? Trying to think where we have, so, outside the city limits. Our city limits go to our city shop and John's Construction, correct?
Just a little bit further than that, yeah.
Holliston. We go to Hollister's, our city limits? I'm thinking on the south side of 35.
Yeah, that's Hollister.
Yeah, that'd be about
Oh.
Hollister there. Okay. And that is zone, on here it doesn't, yeah, we couldn't delineate that color right now, but and Highway 10 doesn't either. Yeah, you don't have a simple map in the office? Look at that, that guy's got a colored map for us. He's part of the audience.
guys supplied it.
Apparently, we sent everybody else color bills.
Yeah, I can't send the commission ones.
And that's, you know, that's another, I know this is a whole different deal, but
Yep,
at some point, if somebody with, let's say Quick Trip decided to change their mind and put a gas station in on the south end of town,
yep,
you'd have to be thinking about moving out just a little bit there
yep.
on Christensen's land, you know, something like that.
Right, and that would, you know, let's say Quick Trip said, oh, we're gonna cut our costs, instead of putting the nice stone buildings they do now, we're gonna put a pole building up. We just would not have that if we can, you know, control it. If they do pole and we decide we wanna allow it, at least we can say, well, we want the part facing the highway to be brick or stone, or a little bit more than just tin.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm not saying Quick Trip.
Yeah, I know.
Any
Any gas
outfit that
station,
would
yeah.
come in, right now we're limited, we don't have any space out there to offer them, right?
Right.
And there's no water or sewer or anything.
It's
out that
close,
direction.
but not down, yeah, not anywhere past, you know, Mary T's or whatever.
Anyway, different subject.
Yeah,
but-
no, that's fine. Oh, yeah,
Matt.
that helps us a little bit more. I know the audience probably can't, if Larry can put it on the screen.
Zoom her in.
Right. So, yeah, as you can see, it's south on Highway 35, if you want to call it that. And north, where Jimmy French right now is. There's a little triangle there, which I think his house is on, and then up along Highway 10, there's some of the other areas. So again, part of it is manufactured homes, and I think it's manufactured mobile home sales and service is probably really what that really means. Because we do have a mobile home park designation, correct? Yes.
Okay.
So that'd be for sales and service, not that it's a bad thing, but we can control it. It's, what do you have sitting out there? New, used, whatever. Same with vehicle sales and service. It's just to make sure that we don't get some, and I can pick on a little bit, but up there at AutoWorks at one point, I know sometimes, it used to be called AutoWorks, I don't know what it's called now. Sometimes they had cars sitting out in front for a while that needed repaired.
Absolutely.
And that's the kind of stuff you'd want to have a little more control, saying, you don't put total cars out in
South of
front.
Highway, we're south of Highway 8 now, you get up that way.
Yeah, you're right. And then just, yeah, so they would allow, it's just, there's a special use. And then remove warehousing and wholesaling as permitted. You know, you don't want a bunch of warehouses sitting along the highway. You'd rather have a hotel, motel, or something that attracts people more than. That's just my thought. I know I had Matt put this out. I let him kind of dig it up. Any other commission members have questions, thoughts? I mean, and I know, I guess I'll pick on Josh. Sometimes Josh doesn't like too much government. I don't either, but this isn't too much government. I think it's just making more sense to kind of control a little bit. Any questions?
This is helpful,
I got
that color on there.
I got a couple people in the audience. If you want to let them at, they can voice their opinion. Other than that, we will have a public hearing at City Council, and that's where we'll really take more public comments. But any questions, concerns? I know that I think 2 people in the audience have talked to Matt already a little bit about their concerns. I think Matt's explained why we would like to change it a little bit, just to control what kind of in and out. And FYI for the commission members, what's there today, even if we change this ordinance, it stays there. It's just called a non-conforming use per se. And really the use would be allowed, it's just we couldn't put any conditions on it unless they make a change, major change to what they have there now. Then the new ordinance would kick in anything they added. So what's there is non-conforming. It would never, well, the only way it disappears after 12 months of non-use of a non-conforming use, it disappears. That's state statute, I believe. All right. Any thoughts, questions? So again, just control. We can control a little bit more what goes in.
I have one question.
Randy, you have to step up here. Do we want to let him talk? I don't have a problem.
It's up to you.
Yeah, go ahead. Step right up. You got to step up here. That we want to make sure your mother sees you on TV. Your name and name where you're from, address. That's what we do.
So it's Randy Murphy, Start House Chef.
Yep.
So the way this reads, and maybe you guys can explain that, but to me it reads that we are no longer a permitted use like vehicle, like our dealership, vehicle sales and service.
Nope, you're permitted use because you are now. You don't lose your use. You are.
If we make
permitted
any
use.
changes or updates or additions, now we have to go through to the city council
You may have
to
to.
get
Right.
special permit to do what we've been doing for the last 70
No, doesn't say that.
years.
Doesn't say that, Randy.
Okay.
Your use is still allowed.
Okay.
Changes you make to use, let's say, to your building. Say, okay, now we want to add a bunch of pole building to the east side of our property going all the way to Patax property line.
Okay.
We'd probably say, no, we'd like your building to stay looking the same, at least on the front, as the rest of your building. That's what it allows us to do. Or let's say you decide to fill your whole parking lot in with building, you don't have much parking, we might say, well, hold on here. You still need a parking, where are you gonna put these cars? You're not gonna put them in the street, you can't start using the public right of way, and have them out there. That's where we can control. You're a non-conforming use. We can never say, oh, guess what, certain house can't be there anymore, because the zoning changed. You're there, you get to stay there. It's the building more than it is the use that we're controlling. The buildings are how you use, if you add to it, how do you expand your business? What are you doing? What does it affect? That's what it asked. So we'll never come back and say, no, you can't be there anymore. You gotta move. Just
So would we have to submit for a special use once this gets implemented, or you know what I'm saying?
No, because you are it. This
Okay.
doesn't change what you do today. And if you didn't change your business, it's gonna be there forever. No matter what, we could change this to, even if we change the zone, let's say we decide to change this to a residential neighborhood, which we would never do. You're still a non-conforming use, and we can't rezone you out of business. It just can't happen. You're always gonna be a dealership, and it's just the building you'd probably put on there. Or if you decided to, let's say we're gonna have a shop over here, and half the junk cars start sitting all along the street. That's what we're able to control. You're not putting all your total cars out front, we're gonna say keep them in the back, can't put,
What if there's an ownership change? Does that matter?
That doesn't matter. The property is the property.
Okay.
The dealership is there until you stop using it for 12 months. You say that you close down for 13 months, come back and say, well, on dealership, we might say, okay, hold on here. Let's just look at it. It's been there forever, the building looks nice, we probably would say, yeah, go ahead, open back up.
All right. Fair enough. That was my main question.
Nope, I appreciate that.
Okay, sounds good.
You're good, Andy.
Thank
He's
you.
probably worried about selling cars the next 12 months. I said he's probably worried about selling cars for the next 12 months with all of them closed.
Trying to get them. Trying to get them, really.
That's what I
That's the
mean.
biggest thing.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
My name is Pat Bakacek. I'm with the Mobile Home Park in Prescott here.
Yeah.
I guess my question, to me, this whole thing comes down to, authority. Okay, so we've been there for 60 years doing exactly the same thing. We've been through every cycle we all in this room can imagine. Okay, we've had years where there's absolutely nothing going on. We can't do a thing. We've had years where we've had 30 mobile homes, 21 brand new mobile homes, 3 years in a row that we brought in and packed that sales lot with. So it's a constantly changing business. Right now we've got one mobile home up there. My dad passed away earlier this year. One of the things he always told me is that you can never pull that last mobile home off of there. If you do, exactly what you're telling me right now. We're not doing our business. Now, I'm really wondering on the whole selling of the property, if I were to sell that property, if that would continue on to the next owner, I'd like to get a legal opinion on that. But because I won't be dealing with this group of people, when it happens. Okay, it'll be a completely different council. They'll be 5-10 years down the road, and maybe there's right now I can't even get new mobile homes in. Okay, so as far as bringing another home to make sure I've got a home up there, I can't even do it. It's a ridiculous economy we're in. I just don't get it. Why, after being in business in the same ownership for over 50 years, that we jump from September 13th meeting, a committee meeting, to a vote next week on completely changing the authority. This is an authority question. The authority of what we have to do with our land for over 50 years. Now I'm going to have to stand up here, and I have other situations where I've gotten into special use permits, and all of a sudden the next thing you know, you're arguing over oak trees or whatever it might be, little paths, concrete paths that have got to be brought from 4 feet to 3 feet, stuff like that. I've already lived this. To me, it's just, absolutely the worst idea when it comes to our location. I understand where Matt's coming from. It's not, Matt and I get along real well, but the bottom line is this is not a good thing, and it's not the way the city of Prescott should be working. So,
Isn't most of your property in a mobile home zone?
yes, yeah,
We're not changing the mobile home zone.
not at all.
Okay.
No,
Just
we
the
just-
very front of your property.
Right.
Okay.
The front, we have our frontage, and I totally understand, that you're telling me that, as long as you don't change it. Well, I can tell you right now, things are going to look different there 13 months from now than they do right now. Things are going to constantly be changing there. I was telling Matt that, right now I've got 3 used mobile homes that I need to pull out. I can't get 3 new ones in right now. If I would, they would already be sitting up there and I'd be pouring slabs. But I can't get anything until way next spring. But, I've already got, that issue. That's what we do. And then there was a big issue dealing with our equipment. I said, we're just like a little city. We've got all the same pieces of equipment that you guys have down at your city. And that's where we park them. That's where we've parked them for decades. And now all of a sudden we don't want your equipment up there. Okay, but to me, the way this has gone about, it's like okay, you know. And so now if I switch around and I decide I want to get a bigger backhoe, you know, or something like that, then all of a sudden, you know, wait a minute, that's a change in use. What are you doing with that? You know, I mean, we need to move with the economy. We need to move with the equipment we need. And, you know, the whole idea of you know, making this a special use and then giving the authority to somebody else is, you know, a very negative thing, and I think it's a negative thing for the city. So.
Thank you, Pat. Any questions, any thoughts, members?
Yeah, I can see where he has it, thinking about the equipment storage stuff up there. But you know, my mother used to be in that park, passed away. Mm-hmm. And those guys done a heck of a lot of work up there, cutting trees and trimming all that stuff up that I really appreciated when they were doing all that extra work. You know, because you get old people up there and their tree need work, and those guys jumped at it and did it, you know. So I thought they did a good job.
Yep.
How far off the highway do you have to be to where it doesn't fall in the highway zone?
So, it's just, from what I understand, is that, Pat, you have that private road there, correct? And it's just, I believe, on the other side of that private road.
And actually, the way the lots break down, the city, when they changed the zoning, because when we first started, that was all commercial all the way, the whole strip, mobile home park was too. When they chose to change that years ago, they actually, the lot line is, am I supposed to be answering this? Okay.
Well, you're supposed to be up here so the people on TV that are listening, they can't hear you, they hear a muffled sound. That's why I say you have to step up.
So, go ahead, Pat.
But my question is, okay, he's not on Highway 10. The Oren Road goes in between his land and Highway 10.
Correct.
So where do you draw the line at where on the fall in the highway zone?
Right.
That's my question. Okay, how far back off of Highway 10 does this go?
Yeah.
Visible? I mean,
Well, look,
it's on
it
your map
depends on
right
where
here.
you're at. Up here, it goes a lot farther. Up here, it goes up here. Here, it goes to here.
So what it is highway commercial, it's usually anything along the highway. In this case, anything along the Highway 10, they zoned it. So as Pat might have said, you know, it was all zoned once before, and then they probably, I don't know when the last rezoning we had, because I've been on here 12 years and we haven't even touched it.
Yeah, it was decades ago.
So, you know, they rezoned it to, there's mobile home park for people to live in, and then they have their sales area, and you still have your office there, correct? So it's not any different than if you don't have any mobile homes, but you're still selling out of it, you haven't changed your use. Just because you don't have a mobile home there doesn't mean you're not selling, okay? Just for Pat's sake, we won't talk. So,
Absolutely.
the council, as far as authority, yes, cities have authorities to change zoning as they see fit, right? They have that authority because, you know what, this zoning's from 15, 20 years ago, things change over time. And what makes more sense? You know, back then, they didn't care if there was a bunch of pole buildings sitting up along the highway. And now we don't really want them, and you know, we want to control a little more, maybe because other cities have had problems with car dealerships that have junk in the whole front of their building, or you know, mobile home parks that it's nothing but a graveyard. You know, and I'm just exaggerating here, but cities have probably had that. We don't want to wait till that happens. We're going to be more proactive. You know, any use that's there now is a non-conforming use. Like pull a state statute, non-conforming use. As long as you are operating in there before the zoning change was made, you get to stay there as long as you stay there. If you'd say you close down your office for sales and service of mobile homes, after 12 months, yes, you can lose that. But you're probably never going to close it down for more than 12 months. If you do, obviously you stop selling. I mean, that's just my thought. So the council has authority to do what they think is the best for the city. It's not good for you as you feel because you're not sure that the next council, and I do understand that. Is it negative to the city? No, this could be a positive. We're hopefully going to have nicer looking buildings along the highways and keep the tax base up. And one guy fixes it up, pretty soon hopefully everybody's saying, yeah, I want to look like the next guy. Why it's gone about? Cities change all the time. I work in a different municipality and people say we don't want to be Little River Falls, but I work there. They change zoning and things all the time. I don't always agree with theirs neither, but it's the right we have. You know, it gives us that right, and if we feel it's the best, council actually, this board doesn't make that determination. The planning commission makes a recommendation to council. Council at the public hearing next week, you can come again, state your concerns. And I'm the mayor, I'll be at that one too. And the council has to make their call. They say, well, we don't want to control it, whatever falls into place, and we'll worry about that. If it becomes a problem then, that's what we'll do. But in my opinion, you got to kind of move forward somewhat. Can't stay small town forever, I'd like to. But we know the growth and whatnot changes it, and you never know what could end up in the city. This kind of helps us kind of monitor it a little bit. As long as you're there, you continue to operate sales and service. You're open every now and then, and keep it looking nice. Again, at any point, if we don't think it looks good, we can get you for a public nuisance than we would a non-conforming use. We'd say, hey, we think, you know, that the mobile home that's falling apart, or the total out vehicles that are sitting in the front of your building, we would come up and probably say a public nuisance, dispose of them properly. But as far as your operations, we won't say a word. You're there as long as you continue to sell, whether you got inventory or because look at the guy behind you, the car dealership. Heck, he can't even get a car, so you can't say he's not selling because he doesn't have new cars. Just doesn't let him operate. Same with your mobile home. We understand you're going to get them sometime, but as long as you still have the office open, your equipment, yeah, it's been there for as long as I can remember. So I don't see we would say, hey, because it's a bigger backhoe. I don't think we're going to say, sorry, you're done, because it's a non-conforming use. You can do that. Anybody else have thoughts? That was just mine. I thought I'd respond. All right, if not, if there's no other discussion, you can entertain a motion to, you know, make a recommendation that you want the council to, or your recommendation to council. You can say we motion to deny it, council still have a public hearing, and they can still make their decision either way.
I'd like to make the motion to proceed to the city council.
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
So a motion made and seconded to recommend approval of the changes to the C2
Yes.
zone? Okay. Any other discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, gentlemen, for your input. Any other business? Commission members, any other business? Matt?
I have no other business, no.
All right.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, everyone.
I think I found a problem on this map.
What's that?
Shouldn't this?
Your house?
No, yeah.